The other question is when during Lectio I receive acts that don't seem like acts. I don't know if it's helpful to give examples, but perhaps because they seem very personal, they don't seem like acts. And I think you had addressed this in a Q&A with Camila also. So for example, if I receive to fast for the day, or to make an act of surrender, or make acts of gratitude throughout the day, they seem to me like little things, you know. I mean, like, obviously I need them, but they don't seem like acts. They seem like just small things. So
yes, it's important to remember that the act, what is an act? What do I mean by act? First and foremost, it's a word from him. It doesn't have to be a strong word. It doesn't have to be a word that shakes mountains and moves things around. But it's a word which will heal my will and transform my will, push my will to do something. So it doesn't have to be strong. It doesn't have to be necessarily exterior. It always, on the other hand, it is always inner act. It starts from within. Like if he says to me, for instance, the classic example that I give, no, go and reconcile with the person who just hurt you yesterday or a week ago. First and foremost, we struggle interiorly. We say, but this person hurt me. So it is inside, it's not outside. I haven't gone to talk to this person or send a message or anything. I'm still with myself. I'm still in Lectio, by the way. I'm still praying in this sense. So I am challenged in the inner part of myself. This is Lectio. This is the birthplace.
okay.
My heart is the birthplace of the act. Our heart, our will, our interior, the interior side of the cup, as Jesus calls it. The interior, when he talks to the Pharisees, he said, why do you clean the outer part of the cup and not the inner part of the cup? So the inner part of the cup is what is inside of us, what is inside of our heart. So when he says, go and reconcile or anything, I can give other examples, maybe entrust me this issue, no? You will say, but Jean, this is nothing. What is entrusting me? It's very little. And you remember, one of the 4 qualities of the word is little. Go back to Solid Foundations, the book. One of the 4 qualities is that it is little, and despite the fact that it's little, it feels sometimes often impossible. So let us talk about this little. One of the aspects of the act. It's inside. Yeah, it's not really something big, but it is something that I wasn't practicing. It is something maybe I wasn't practicing the way that it is shown to me today. So maybe I was doing it, but I wasn't doing it the way he showed it to me today. So the birthplace of the act is the interaction between the word, my mind, and my will. All this is inside. Nobody sees it. So he can, when I will say, okay, this person hurt me, please heal my heart. All this is inside. Nobody sees it. And or if he says to me, pray for this person. So I'm not even doing anything outside. No, pray for this person. It's just inside of my heart. I pray. I don't have to do certain things outside, exterior things. So when he says pray for this person, it is an act. And it could be like impossible for me because this person is not part of this is considered like an enemy for me. It's like, would you pray for this enemy? It's difficult. Oh, I know it is the gospel. It is what it says in the gospel, but it is new to me, and this person is my enemy. So how can I pray for this enemy? It's not possible. So please help me, heal my heart, because this person being my enemy hurt me. So can you transform my heart first? I have a problem first. Yeah? I need to clarify this problem first. Where is all this happening? Where is the birthplace? It's inside. And sometimes it can stay inside in the sense that you pray for the person, nobody sees it, you didn't do an exterior act. So
Right.
the act has two dimensions, or can have only one dimension. In this case, it is exclusively inner dimension, but it is, if it has two dimensions, it's in and out. You see what I'm trying to say?
Yeah. So then, so in a way, it's also an act of trust, and, you know, to be able to make an interior act, to be okay, you know, like not to want to make it into something exterior, but to accept it as an interior act is, I imagine, because the Lord is working in preparing the heart to receive him fully. So in that sense, it's an act of trust that even if he has something that no one will see, that if it's what he wants, then it's good.
Yeah. Why diminishing it? If this is what he wants, even if it looks very small, it's still an act. It is a word which becomes flesh in you.
Right.
Remember, always, Lectio Divina is a word,
Right.
is a message, is an intention, it's a light. It's part of Jesus. It's something that is him, part of his being, that is given to you. A mouthful of Jesus is given to you, it's supposed to nourish or shed light on the mind, but not only that, it descends until it reaches the will, because we are not only minds. So then when it touches the will, it wants to blend and transform and burn and transform this little part of the will. Even if it is small, it comes from him. So in
Right.
this sense, this act is always new. It's fresh.
Right.
Lectio is always fresh. I'm not putting in the microwave and heating an old meal. It's always new in this sense.
So is it
Totally new. Sorry?
is it perhaps like a almost like a small act of obedience,
It is.
basically?
It is.
Right.
It is. It's not.
Okay.
It is. It is. It's not an image you are using. It is Lectio. Lectio is an act of obedience. What is
So
obedience? It's ob
in that,
audire.
oh,
Obedience
right.
in Latin, ob audire, which means I heard and I did it, and I put it into practice. So, but first it's audire, which means to listen. So it is an obedience. St. Paul, no, obedience of faith. What is obedience of faith? I think it's in the beginning of the letter to the Romans. The obedience of faith is to receive the word and put it into practice. This is why I prefer Lectio as seen this way, no, as a word and put it into practice instead of pray, read, meditate, pray, and contemplate. I don't like that one. I think we need to go back to the gospel. It's Jesus talking to me and wanting me to put it into practice. Why do you call me Lord, Lord, and you don't do what I'm saying? It is obedience, absolutely. It is an act of obedience, but an act of obedience, not blind, to a word which is given
Right.
to me.
Right. It was making me think that in Philippians 2, you know, that Jesus was obedient unto death, because sometimes when we obey, there's a little part of us that dies in order to be
Yep.
more like him. So it's like a little grain of salt, but still an imitation of Christ in a sense.
Yeah, and it espouses the movement, the Paschal movement, which is some part of me dies, some part of my old will, the old man's will dies, and the counterpart of it is that it's um, by the fecundity of the word, it is changed and transformed. So there is this movement of death and resurrection in this part of my being every day, in a part of my being. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's important, at least for me, to know that it's something that transforms my will. Because I think that ultimately it's to be able to say, like Our Lady, you know, that let your word be done unto me.
Don't measure the act. It doesn't have to be a big act. It can be it is always a new act. It could be very small, but this is what he wants. Okay, I'll do it. By your grace, I'll do it, because it's not evident. It's not obvious that we can do, even if it is small. Please go back in the book on Lectio Divina and the School of Mary. In the second part of it, I explain I develop a little bit the qualities of the Word of God given to us. So it comes from above. It is practical in the sense that it touches our will. The third quality is that it is little. And in little, the allusion is to what the Lord says, "No, come, faithful servant, you were faithful in little things, and now I establish you in bigger things." Little in this sense, like if I have to climb a mountain, I need to put one foot in front of the other. I can't just climb the mountain in one shot. So every day I put one foot in front of the other. So I haven't moved the entire mountain yet, but I am about to.
Okay. My last question is that I've been practicing the Lectio Divina according to the School of Mary, I think for about 2 years now. And, you know, again, by the grace of God, pretty consistently. And it seems to me that there are periods in which I get the same word repeatedly, the day after day. So, for example, purity will come for a whole week. Even if the act is it's different, I seem to get the same word. So then I'm thinking, well, am I not getting something that he's repeating the same thing? Yeah. So eventually it seems to like fade away, but I've noticed it several times, maybe like 3 times, that there's a word that repeats itself.
Yeah. Despite the fact that the readings are different every day, and despite the fact that it will have a slightly different nuance every day. You answered your question, by the way, by saying that. Yes, you can notice that when you know, life is the journey with the Lord. Life is made of weeks, and weeks are made of days. And you will notice that if you pay more attention, you are doing it, but I'm just raising the attention here, that sometimes the teaching comes in like topics. So he will work on one topic for a week or 2 or 3. This is why you say it is repeated. The same topic comes back again. The same subject comes back again. So, and I take the opportunity here to say something. In all times, and by all times, I'm alluding to the manuals of spiritual theology, rather before Council of Vatican II, and sometimes they're brought back today and reprinted. The method that was used for formation was more virtues method. So the author would suggest to strengthen your spiritual life to work on different virtues. So it could be faith, could be humility, could be charity, could be poverty, could be different types of virtues. And then you would work and focus on one of them. You would have exercises and so forth. That was the old-time method. The method in itself is not wrong, because we know, because we studied the human being, that virtues are like muscles inside of us. And I know the image is a bit ugly, but we need to be a little bit of do a little bit of gym or bodybuilding. We need to have toned muscles, and the muscles are these virtues. So each muscle is a virtue, and we need to work on it. So instead of being very weak, we strengthen it. It's toned. It's lovely. It's working properly. So we have ease in practicing the virtue. So that was before. We knew that it was inevitable to have that. And you will see that if you consider Lectio Divina as the method in spiritual theology, You will find that Jesus, who is your master, who knows you better than any other master, is pursuing the same system, but much better, because he knows which virtue you need right now. So he gives the priority and teaches you for 1 week or 2 weeks the same topic. Why? Because he wants to strengthen the muscle. So it comes back because he shows it to you from different angles. So because he wants it to be strong. So he might work on purity, on humility, on poverty, on whatever. And he is guiding you, not you going to read a book on that subject and trying to do your best on it. The method here is way superior. Why? Because you have the Holy Spirit and Jesus who sees you perfectly, not the book. The book cannot see you. The book gives you the general idea. But he sees you and works inside and shows you the subject and strengthens it from all different angles. So you come out of this week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks training with toned muscles, virtues, I mean by that, of course. So it is absolutely normal what you are witnessing, which is the recurrence of the same subject. And you will notice that he is strengthening it. And remember that our day is the measure, but the week is a measure also. And the week is like the Holy Week. It's a climbing toward resurrection, toward a change, a radical change, going through Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then Sunday. So every week you will see there is a movement. If you watch with a microscope the movement of the grace of God, you will see that it follows this curve.
Yeah, I sometimes feel like I have my own liturgical seasons going on inside my heart, you know, according to what I see he's showing in Lectio.
Yeah. So. Yeah. Not only that, but you will notice also that our Lectio follows the liturgical year. It is incredible. You get you will notice that the grace of God, more precisely, the way the grace of God works in you is in tune with the liturgical year. So before each feast, you will find that the Lectio Divina is leading you toward the grace of that feast. So all the graces you received before prepare you for that grace, and then back again in the valley, and then we go up to the top of the mountain. And the stronger the feast, the climbing is stronger, and sometimes the struggle is stronger, but the reward in the end is different. And the Lectio practice closer to the feast is much easier, while the other ones are a bit. In general, of course, there are always exceptions, but in general, yeah. And sometimes you will discover feasts through your Lectio, which means you practice a Lectio. You don't know that today is a feast of a certain saint or something. The Lectio is different, is better, is stronger. And then suddenly you discover that today is the feast of this or that. So you feel that this saint is drawing closer to you, or this feast of Our Lady, or any other feast, etc., it becomes special for you. But Lectio is like your thermometer, your sensor. You start to feel better the movement of the grace of God in you, and totally in tune with the liturgical year, the liturgical calendar.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, and thank you.